Now joined by the Georgia defense, where you've got co-defensive coordinator Will Muschamp, safety Chris Smith, linebacker Smael Mondon, and linebacker Chaz Chambliss. Coach, we'll start with you. Just a quick opening statement on transitioning here to Atlanta and bowl prep and how it's going so far.
Well, we had a really good practice, a week in Athens. I thought our guys worked extremely hard and came back yesterday, had another good practice. We're excited to get started again today. Appreciate the Peach Bowl and obviously the college football playoff and what they do for college football. We're excited to be here.
All right, for the players, starting with you, Chris, just talk about your transition, how the bowl week experience has been so far. I know it's only been one day, but how are you guys settling in?
Well, it's been a great transition so far. I'm from Atlanta, so it's great to be able to get back home. We had a good event last night with the team, a lot of great camaraderie, a good competition, and we'll have many more with the week coming.
All right, Smael?
Yeah, like Chris said, it was a smooth transition. I'm not necessarily from Atlanta, but I'm from a little bit down the road, Paulding County. So it's good to be back home or close to home.
All right, Chaz?
Same as other guys. It was a smooth transition. Everything was great coming in, and same with Smael. I'm around the same age as him.
All right, very good. All right, we'll go right into questions. We'll start right here. All right, Chip, I hope you're bringing your A game, buddy.
Yeah, questions for Will. How you doing, Will? Just wondering about the dynamic between you and Glenn. Can you give us a picture when you're conducting meetings? Or you both up there? Do you trade back and forth? Obviously, you've run your own show for a long time. So how does that dynamic work?
Well, it's been outstanding. Glenn's done a phenomenal job this year. Does a great job relating with our players, sending the message through our head football coach to our players. The expectation doesn't change, and I'm really proud of these guys sitting with me today and how they've approached this season of what we, perceivably lost last year. The guys that we lost on our defense and how these guys have handled this year. But Glenn's done an outstanding job. He's a really good football coach. We take turns as far as the installation process is concerned. But there's a lot of voices in the defensive room, starting with Coach Smart, myself, and we have an outstanding defensive staff. So it's not anybody running a one-man show. It's a lot of people involved in what we're trying to do, and obviously the expectation we understand on defense at Georgia to be elite. And that's what our goal is at all times. And we understand that. You leave your egos on the shelf and understand what you've got to do and what your role is in the organization to be successful.
All right, next question. Raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone, please. Okay, over here, third row on the left.
Yeah, this one's for Coach as well, Jed May with UGA Sports. When you look at guys like Smael and Jamon as well, just how key are the inside linebackers to what y'all do in terms of defensive scheme and what allows y'all to be so good on that side of the ball?
You asking me? Okay, I'm sorry. Well, those guys have had a phenomenal year. Both Smael and Jamon taking the role that they've taken, again, from last year. And in our defense, there's a lot of communication involved. Obviously, Chris can soundboard that as well. But a lot is communicated up front based on formation recognition. A lot of this is happening in a tempo setting where it's very fast. There's a lot of things going on, and these two young men have done a phenomenal job of getting us in the right spots defensively, because we have a lot of things that we check, based on formation and things. And these guys do a great job of communicating those things to our defense, along with Chris and Malachi and some of the other guys.
Okay, we'll go right here on the front row.
Coach, Evan Kroll with Dogs Daily. It's been a crazy last few years, to say the least. When you took the analyst job here, did you envision that you would be standing where you are now 15 to 18 months later as the co-DC?
No, again, I've always, whether you're the head coach or the coordinator or a position coach or an analyst, do the best job in the job that you have and your role in the organization. And Coach Smart does a great job of identifying what your job is, and this is your job description, and do it at a high level, and then let the chips fall where they may. And, for some unfortunate circumstances, I ended up being on the field last year, and do the best job you can with the job you have.
All right, Zach.
Coach, and for the players, Zach Line from Channel 2 here in Atlanta. What's the most impressive part of CJ's game?
Wow, I think that, he's an elite passer. That's the first thing that jumps out. He can make all the throws. He puts the balls in catchable areas where a lot of, just don't have that talent to do that. A lot of people don't have that talent to do that, and he certainly can. I think it was Michigan State 2 years ago. He takes a zone read 70 yards for a touchdown against Northwestern this past year, 5:30 left to go in the game, designed quarterback run out the backside. So he has legs, athleticism to evade in the rush and create off-rhythm plays, which is obviously very difficult to defend. But the number one thing that jumps off the film is his ability to throw the football.
All right, Chris, thoughts on CJ?
Yeah, I would say, he's an elite passer, very poised with his game, and you could tell they run everything through him. Like I say, like you said, Coach said he got legs. He could pretty much do it all. He was a Heisman finalist, and that just says enough for just the kind of player he is.
All right, Smael.
Pretty much agreeing with what Chris and Coach Muschamp said. Elite passer with really good ball placement. He puts the ball where his receivers can have a chance to make a play. So that's hard to defend.
All right, and Chaz?
Just a great player overall. The offense goes with him. He's a great passer, and he can show his legs when he wants to.
All right, we'll stay in the front row right here.
Yeah, Brooks also with Dogs Daily. Kind of a two-parter here. First for Chaz. Kind of being thrust into the lineup with Nolan going down. Do you feel like you're playing more confident as the season progresses? And Chris, you had a very similar situation when Richard went down in 2020. Is there anything you give younger players as in terms of like advice, how to catch up really quickly?
Chaz?
Yes, obviously with more playing, the more confidence you have, the more snaps you have under your belt, the better you feel when you go out on the field. The experience is invaluable when you go out there and just try and take advantage of every snap.
Yeah, it's crazy you ask that because, I have this conversation a lot, just telling players like how you just make sure you need to be ready when your name is called. With the situation, how I was able to get on the field, I just made sure I was ready and prepared, just doing everything I can in practice and building that connection with my teammates and my coaches. It just really paid off when it was time for me to be able to step up. And I just kind of try to preach that to the younger guys, like just make sure you're ready when your time comes.
All right, we're going to go fourth row on the right here.
Coach Muschamp, Anthony Dasher with UGAsports.com. Getting Jalen Carter back healthy obviously was been a huge part of the defensive success. Just kind of just talk about kind of what that has meant and what now his presence has allowed the rest of the defense to do.
Well, he's somebody you got to account for every snap. He can change the game certainly inside. He's a very disruptive guy in the run game and in the pass game. So that's something that's a guy that's very disruptive. And you've got to account for him every snap, and sometimes it's hard to help in protection for an inside player. It's much easier to chip on the edges and be able to have some protection. You can turn the protection. We're very aware of that we've got to create situations where Jalen's in one-on-ones, and that's what we try and do as much as we can.
All right, over here on the left, Cody.
Cody Chaffins from Fox 5 Atlanta. I've heard some guys in interviews this year talk about Bloody Tuesday. Can you tell me what that is? And it sounds like it'd be a culture-building kind of thing.
It's today.
Yeah, it's today. Basically, our hardest day of practice. That's when we get after it the hardest, and we feel like that's what this program is built on Bloody Tuesday.
All right, back over here. Was it Chip or Doug? Go ahead, Doug.
Doug Robertson, the AJC. It's for Chris. Ohio State has the 2,000-yard receivers. Are there any comparables to any other wide receiver tandems in the SEC you faced to those two guys?
I would probably compare them to actually the last game we played. LSU had a lot of great receivers as well as Ohio State, and they all bring different things to the game as wide receivers, but they're all special talents at the end of the day, and something that we have to be able to account for and focus on.
All right, over here, Chip.
For Coach Muschamp and Chris Smith, if you could speak to about the guy to your left there in the age of the transfer portal. He's a guy that stuck it out, and now he's an All-American and an NFL draft prospect. And then, Chris, if you can weigh in after him, just kind of on that journey from down the road at Hateville Charter to sitting there where you are today.
It was great practice fields at Hateville Charter you had. I'm a huge Chris Smith fan, and I agree, and I like how you phrased the question of the age of the transfer portal. Here's a guy that doesn't really hit the field to his fourth year.
Yeah,
third year, and then going into his fourth year, and has played in my 2 years at Georgia, has played phenomenal. Just played outstanding football, extremely bright, extremely intelligent, very competitive, great leader, a guy that's really affected people around him in a very positive way, physical player. I mean, all the intangible attributes you I wouldn't stop. We'd be here for a while. And how what he has meant for our program and what he's brought to the University of Georgia. And his last 2 years have been pretty amazing how he's played.
Yeah, I would just say it's been a long journey for sure. You know, like you said, in the age of the transfer portal, you know, you got a lot of people in your ear saying, you know, you're second string here, you can go somewhere else and start. But, you know, I just stuck it out and just built that connection with my teammates and my brothers and just continued to work. And all I can say is hard work pays off at the end of the day.
Okay, right here in the front on the right.
Yeah, Coach Brooks Austin, Dogs Daily. Kind of an operationalist question. Last year, I think Coach Schumann was in the box. This year, both of you guys are on the field as co-defensive coordinators. What goes into the decision of who's in the box, what's in the box, who's on the field, why we're on the field, all that good stuff?
You know, what's best for our football team? I mean, there's a lot of things that go on from the standpoint of, you know, offensive personnel's on the field, who's identifying those things. You know, being on the field, a luxury we have is Coach Smart, a guy that's been, you know, defensively as good as anyone in the country for a long time. So you've got those eyes on the field, myself, Coach Schumann, Trey Scott, and then Chadera does a great job in the box as far as relaying the information. And that's kind of, you know, Brooks, to be honest with you, going in the first ball game, we didn't know how it was going to go. And it's gone well for us. We've had good information. The bottom line is us making the proper adjustments immediately and being able to get those informations by series so we can make sure our players understand the information and how an offense maybe is attacking us or something they may be doing different that we hadn't prepared for, and making sure that we're getting that information as quickly as possible. And that's the big part of that, and we're able to do a good job, and Chadera's done a nice job in the box of being able to get that information along with, you know, everybody on every play has something they're watching. And it's not just watching the game and watching the ball. When you got something you're looking at and making sure that we make the corrections when they occur.
All right, over here on the right, Sarah.
Chris, Sarah Spencer with the AJC. LSU had some success passing the ball in the SEC championship. Just as a secondary, what have y'all kind of been focusing on this month to get ready for this passing attack for Ohio State?
We've just been focusing on our technique and our fundamentals with this about a month that we had been able to practice to get prepared for this game and just locking in on a game plan. You know, that game's in the past. You know, we didn't perform our best and we could perform better, and that's what we want to do for this game on Saturday.
Chris and Smael, you know, part of the week obviously is the extra activities you guys are going to be partaking in. Two parts. Is it a distraction, a welcome distraction, something that needed with the magnitude of the game awaiting you this weekend? And I noticed that one of the events is basketball. Only 5 guys can shoot hoop. Who's the one guy taking the last second shot?
Well, first of all, I would say it's not a distraction. It's kind of the opposite. It kind of brings you more of a connection with your teammates on being able to spend that time and just having fun activities you wouldn't usually be able to do. You know, we played like Family Feud last night, and that was really fun, like a lot more fun than I thought it would be. And we're taking that last shot. I'm going with Malachi Starks. He one of the best basketball players I've seen. So, yeah.
All right, Smael.
Yeah, with like what Chris said, I feel like it could. It's only a distraction if you let it be. You know, if you go about it the right way. You know, it's just gonna be fun. You know, connecting with your teammates. As far as the last shot, though, I'm gonna stay in the linebacker room. I'm gonna go with Tresman. I'm gonna let Tresman or Sori take that last shot.
All right.
Sir. We're kind of different linebacker rooms, inside and outside. We're separate rooms, so.
All right, am I to understand that neither one of you guys want to take the last shot?
Nah.
I'll shoot it if I have to. Now, if somebody pick me, I'll take it.
All right, time for a few more. Where are we going next? Oh, okay, over here on the left.
Yeah, Will, I guess last time we talked to you, Malachi Starks hadn't done what he's done this year. Just from a former safety yourself, what has allowed him to come in and be so successful in his first season, you know, playing in y'all's defense?
Well, he's very coachable. Obviously, God's blessed him with a lot of ability. He's a guy that Jefferson High School played both sides of the ball, was an option quarterback. So he only really played defensive back about half the time. And so there was a lot of firsts for him last spring when he came mid-year. Made tremendous strides from day one of spring ball through the summer, going into training camp, but being very coachable, very bright, very humble young man, always eager to get better, to improve, always striving to get better, always understanding he's got room to grow as a player. And Larry and Tisha's parents, great family, great young man, and is had some really bright moments this fall. He really has done a nice job. But I think as much as anything, you go back to being very coachable and understanding the things he's got to improve on every day. And obviously, God's blessed him with some ability.
All right, back to the front row on the right.
Yeah, Coach, how advantageous is it, I guess, for Georgia to be able to stop teams from running the football without dedicating a lot of bodies to the box, kind of allowing them 4 downs and those 2 backers to handle their business and allowing your really good safeties to kind of control the passing lanes?
Well, if you're able to play more split safety and be able to cloud the coverage a little bit for the quarterback, it certainly helps. And if you're able to do that with, Jalen and Nas and Zelo and those guys do a great job of controlling the line of scrimmage, and we're able to do that, that certainly is advantageous for you to be able to, rush the passer with 4 guys rushing. That's gives you a really good shot defensively, and that's key for that. And that's something that controlling the running game's been good. We got to continue to find ways to affect the quarterback.
All right, next question. All right, over here, midway back on the left.
I'll ask Coach Muschamp, last game out for Ohio State, their only loss of the year. Is there anything that you see on tape that Michigan did that you guys will try and do? Is there a blueprint there? Is there anything to that?
No, we do what we do. But Ohio State's up and down the field in the first half. Michigan got off the field on 3rd down, and they had a couple turnovers.
All right, next question. All right, while they're thinking about it, I've got one for you guys. So this is your 3rd game in this stadium this season, which is really unusual. Curious if you guys think, is that really an advantage to you? Is there a greater comfort level for that? Do you feel that you have an advantage in any way?
I wouldn't say it's an advantage. I feel like both teams going to be locked into the max, and we're not going to be worried about the outside. We're going to be worried about what we got to do on the field. So I don't think it's no advantage.
Smael?
Yeah, like Chris said, I don't necessarily think it's an advantage.
I don't think it's an advantage at all. Playing wise, both teams are going to play hard. I mean, it's a 1-game season right now, so it's all or nothing.
Sure.
Coach, any thoughts?
It matters who plays the best in those 60 minutes.
Fair enough. All right, we're going to go back over here to Cody on the left.
I'll ask you one more, Coach Muschamp. Can you take us back to January 1st, 93, and the Citrus Bowl, the only time Georgia's played Ohio State? What do you remember from that game?
It was a good win for the Dogs, so we had a not game, but I guess a luncheon, and Herb Street got up and threw a pass across the room. I knew we had a shot to win. So make sure he knows I said that.
All right, I think we got time for one more final question for this group before we change. Anybody?